So hello and welcome to our office hours for Dynatrace app development. My name is Sarah and I am here with Sini, who will help with answering questions today. So we're both part of the platform enablement team, and we're here to help you with any questions that you might have that are related to app development. So we have been doing this about once a month. And the next session will be in January. There will be a reminder at the end of this session as well. So Sini, do you want to say hi and maybe introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm Sinisha, but you can call me Sini, or that's my nickname at least. I've been part of the platform enablement team for almost 2 years and trying to, let's say, engage with people who are interested in creating apps on the Dynatrace platform.
Thank you, Sini. So if you've been around in the community, Sini often answers questions there, and he's generally a very helpful person. So again, also a reminder, if you have any questions that we didn't pick up in the office hours or that pop up at a different time, just feel free to ask them in the developer Q&A forum. We will take a look at them and you will get an answer to those questions there as well. All right, so just a quick overview of what you can expect from today's session. So first, there will be a What's New section where I will just very briefly show the developer newsletter. It's quite short today, so there's not too much information, but a nice overview of everything that's relevant. That will be followed by the Q&A session where we will answer questions from the audience. And we've also prepared a couple of questions from the developer Q&A forum that we thought might be a good idea. Sini will then also talk about a special topic, which we will introduce later on. And I'll give a short overview of the resources that we have available for you. Just a quick reminder, any questions that you have, feel free to at any time use the Q&A tool in Zoom and drop that question off. So what's new? Let me just quickly share my screen. So here we go. This is the developer newsletter, and this is its 6th edition. Obviously, the office hours, that's old news already. But I do want to point out the DQL deep dive is the DQL deep dive session, basically. So we have a Learning Dynatrace query language playlist on YouTube. We've mentioned it last time, but please feel free to go ahead and check that out if that's something you're interested in. But what I do want to point out this time is that there's 4 new videos. So there is one about the time series and one about the append command. And there's also 2 more use case videos that Sini actually recorded. So feel free to check them out if you're interested in DQL or have just started learning how to do it. What I also want to mention, if you're interested in DQL, there's the office hours for DQL analytics. The ones for this December are already over, but there will be a date in January again. Then let's continue with highlights for app developers. As I said, there's not so many changes this time around. But there has been a long-awaited change. There is now a select version 2 component. It's better than the first version. And basically, it offers you a lot of different possibilities to design your select. Just go ahead and check out the reference in the design system. There is also a couple more icons that are available and some different small changes as well. And again, that's old news. You've heard this last time in the app development office hours. Basically, we're just suggesting how to use app function and when to use app functions, most especially. Yeah, so that's it. This is another resource that's available to you. The next one will come out at the beginning of January with all the newest news.
Maybe, Sarah, a question at this point in
Yes.
time. So where do I find the newsletter and how can
So
I subscribe to the newsletter?
Yeah, you can find the newsletter in the developer blog. Just let me expand that window. And when you click following here, you'll get all the latest updates and will be informed when there is a new newsletter that's being posted. And yeah, otherwise it's just a community, and in community you go to developer, and then here you have the Q&A forum that I was talking about, and here you have the developer blog. All right. So let me just go back to the presentation. So this was the what's new. Yeah, and now back to some questions. And let's get started with the Q&A session. Sini, I think this is your turn.
Yes.
Do you want to take over and get started on the questions?
Yes, sure. So however you prefer, yeah, you can.
Yeah, I'll just leave this up and then hand over to you.
Okay. Let me share my screen. I hope you see the right portion of my screen.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
So, this is Gilgi asking about an issue that he had where he tried logging in with 2 users consecutively, and they had different permissions. And his issue was that they had the same rights available to them, even though that was not supposed to be the case. So Sini, if I'm right, you spent some time with this case. Can you elaborate a little bit on what you found out about this?
Yes, sure. So what Gilgi tried to do, so he was developing an app and he tried he was trying out the app with different users, but he didn't deploy the Dynatrace app. The app was running locally. And what is how Dynatrace, or when you develop locally, what's happening there basically? First, when you start the app locally, the app connects to your Dynatrace environment, to the Dynatrace tenant, and SSO prompts you, right? So you have to add a username and a password, and then the local dev server is kind of authenticated to Dynatrace. And what he actually tried to do was, okay, I will open another browser in incognito mode and see, work around, basically see how the app behaves with a different user when running locally. But maybe what he wasn't aware, so in development mode, when you develop locally, all requests basically are authenticated with the first user. You do the SSO, the SSO. So basically, what was happening in his case, he logged in incognito mode with a different user, but because he's running it locally with the local dev server, all the requests made to the Dynatrace platform have been as this initial user with which he has started actually the dev server. So this was like kind of a misinterpretation. And bottom line is, so if you want to test multiple users with your app you're currently developing, please deploy an app to the Dynatrace platform and don't run it like locally with the local dev server.
Okay, but so if I wanted to run it locally, I would just have to make sure that all traces of the first user were gone, and I started a new session, and then I could also do it with a different user on the same machine.
No, you have to restart the dev server if you want to do it for a different user. So you need to restart the dev server to re-authenticate, basically.
Okay, so those two steps, if you still want to do it locally, would be what gets you there.
Yeah.
Just a quick reminder, as you can also see on the slide, if you have any questions, please don't forget to use the Q&A tool to post your questions with us. Thank you. Yes, and then second up, we have Johannes who asks, is it possible to use local storage or session storage in an app? It seems like it doesn't work because of the iframe. So, Sini, do you have any insights on this topic?
Yes, I have insights. So people familiar with web development, I mean, you might want to use the local storage or the browser storage, and you want to store some data of your app. And some people also internally noticed, hey, it doesn't work as expected. And bottom line is, so if you want to persist any kind of internal app information, don't use the local browser storage or session storage. We have, for that use case, we have created a dedicated service, which is called the app state service, which you should use if you want to store any kind of data related just to your app. So in case you would have wanted to store something in local storage or session storage, browser storage, don't do that. Use the Dynatrace app state service or functionality to store such kind of states. And this leads me actually to a special topic. So what we have noticed based on interacting with various developers who create apps on Dynatrace, often one question kind of pops up. How do I store data in Dynatrace when I'm creating a custom Dynatrace app? So usually when people, they first start their experience, the journey with Dynatrace apps, and they have a use case which they want to cover. And then question pops up, okay, what ways to store data in Dynatrace, and how can I store data in Dynatrace? And there are various ways within the Dynatrace app how you can actually store data. So maybe first two things is the one thing already mentioned, the app state service. And maybe let's start with the app state. So what is the app state? So if you have any data which should exist just within your app, which is just relevant for your app, you can use the app state, and the data which was created within the app state only exists in the scope of your app. So no other apps can access the data. So this data you store within the app state is app-centric. And the app state basically serves as a key value storage. So you might have a key, I don't know, your internal app configuration or app state, and just we can persist just some random JSON value. And for app state, we have two kind of flavors. One flavor is just app state. If you want to store general data related to your app, maybe you want to cache some data and store it as an app state. And the other type of app state is user app state. So maybe you want to give the users the possibility to customize the look and feel of an app. I don't know, maybe you have a data table, and you have a table, and you want to give the users the possibility to customize the look and feel on a user level. Then you would store such kind of configuration as user app state. So what is app state? App state basically user app state centric data which belongs to one app. Then another way another way to store data within a Dynatrace app is to use documents. So what is document? What are documents? So compared to app state, the main difference is that a document belongs to a user and not to an app. So maybe you have already used notebooks and dashboards, and maybe you have noticed there's a possibility to create documents or to create notebooks or dashboards. Basically, those things are documents. So a document belongs to a user. A document can be used within multiple apps, but only like by the owner of the document. And documents also can be shared. So you as an end user can like share a document with somebody. And maybe let me just jump quickly to the documentation. So we have for documents and for app state, we have dedicated pages in our developer on Dynatrace developer. Basically, documentation explaining the concept, so about documents and about the app state, about the state service. And what you will also find here are also some related links how to store. So basically, how-to guides, examples, how to work with app state and how to work with documents. And third option, you also have within about storing data within Dynatrace apps are to store data as observability data. So as you know, in Dynatrace we store different kind of data like metric logs, business events, and traces, and you can also store if your app maybe your app is querying some third-party system and wants to ingest logs from that kind of third-party system. You can do it also within the Dynatrace app. And I will now just open, maybe the logs example. So we have the SDK and the relevant clients, for instance, to ingest logs into Dynatrace. So you can use the logs client and the store log method actually to store natively data into Grail as a log. And the question we often get, okay, yes, you have those different kinds of different ways which you can store data. And the question is, what should I use for my use case? So it always depends. So you should ask yourself, okay, what kind of data do I want to store? Is that kind of data, is it mutable? So if it's, for instance, if the data is mutable, you maybe already know, the data stored in Grail, it's immutable data. So you cannot modify a log after it's ingested or a metric. And you might then use the app state and for app state and for document on those service pages, you will have some extensive documentation. What kind of also use cases are covered, or you are usually covered by app state and by documents.
Cool, thank you, Cindy.
Sarah, do you have maybe any questions about those three types?
No, but let me maybe rephrase. So in general, there's 3 different ways in which I can store data in my Dynatrace app. So I have the possibility to use a document. I can either store app-related or user-related data in app state, or I can get observability data in different ways and then store it in Grail. And also, again, get it from there to display it in my app.
Yes, exactly. So if you store data, I don't know, as logs or as biz events, then you would use the normal way of querying that data with EQL.
Great. That sounds like a lot of different options that I have available to get my app going as well as possible.
Yes.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, just again, a quick reminder to all of you out there, feel free to ask any questions using the Zoom Q&A tool, either at the top or at the bottom. There's 2 speech bubbles. Just put any question that you have right there, and we'll try to answer it for you. Cindy, is there anything else you want to talk about for now? Or do you already have some questions lined up that you would like to answer?
No, but I see we just got a new question about Dynatrace custom apps, and I will just try to read it or answer it live. We got a new question from Amit. So, hi, I'm trying to get started with App Engine. I find that the development page is useful in terms of getting you started, but thereafter I'm finding it extremely difficult to go through simple use cases. Is there any university material that I can go through, or is the development page and community forum the only source of information? So as of now, maybe let me switch to the, so with development page, I assume you're referring to the Dynatrace developer portal, so the developer documentation, and you would expect kind of more use case oriented examples. And asking also if is anything on university. What we have on university, the only thing related, developer related to the university, what we have currently is just the developer access certification, but which is already accessible to partners, and we also plan it to make it accessible to any kind of developer, but not really what you're asking for. Maybe, but the other thing we already have, maybe you have stumbled over it's sample apps and some use cases. So the one maybe I can highlight, it's multi-monitor updater. So we have some sample apps and sample use cases, and for instance, the multi-monitor updater, what it does, maybe you want to update multiple synthetic monitors at once. Maybe you want to change the frequency of a monitor of multiple monitors. Maybe you want to bulk change the locations. And we have built therefore a sample app, the multi-monitor updater. And what you will find there to those sample apps is also a link to GitHub and to the source code. So what you could do, you can just check out this example, go to GitHub and clone the source code, check out the source code and see how we are using stuff and how we have implemented it. So yeah, example for the multi-monitor updater. So the use case there is, you want to bulk update multiple synthetic tests. And we have created therefore a sample app, which you can check out and see how we have implemented it. Another thing related to use cases or samples, what we have in Dynatrace developer are code recipes. Let's say there are some compact pieces of code, and which show you some smaller use cases. So for instance, what we have here, use case, I want to create a simple visualization to show the log status distribution, for instance. And in the code recipes, you get basically this sample code, which you can just copy and paste into your code and can further examine it. And we are also, so our team is also in the process of creating additional code recipes. Such kind of small code recipes, which you can also then inspect and check out. Another code recipe, for instance, we have here how to make use of the annotation component within a time series chart. And maybe you have or you have not discovered it, some other, let's say, code snippets. When you check out about our design system, so in reference in Strata design system, you will see the documentation of all our components. And for instance, for the I will now just select the time series chart component. You see here on the right hand side many use cases for the time series chart component, and for every of those use cases, we also provide you the code snippet. And maybe let's jump on the threshold use case. So for instance, you want to visualize a time series chart and to add a threshold into a time series chart, and then you click on the show code button. And let me just, so usually you at the beginning you see some dummy data, but then basically you see, okay, how to add a threshold to your time series chart. So use cases from a different angle, use cases to make use of the Dynatrace design system and its component. And feel free to check out the reference and all the examples. And for those guys who have not maybe been last time, so what we have added recently was this code sandbox link. So you don't even have to write this code in locally. You just click on the code sandbox link, and it will open a new code sandbox which you can fork and clone and basically play around with the component and customize it as you want.
Great. Thank you, Sini, for this extensive answer. That sounds like quite some possibilities that people have got there to learn a little bit more. So there's also, like, we've been getting this feedback, and we're also working on more content that kind of fits a user who's a little bit more advanced. And obviously we'll notify you as soon as we have it up and running in the developer portal. Just check out our newsletter. I'm sure that will contain it, or join us again at the office hours, where we'll also mention content like that if it comes up. Also, what I want to mention, so I've only joined Dynatrace quite recently, and my colleague Penny is not quite, but relatively new to coding in general. And we've been working on apps together. And what we found very helpful is to just pick very small tasks that you can break down into details, and then just also try to put everything together from the different parts of the developer portal. So to just have an idea first of what you want to do, then think about how you can visualize the data, and then like really break it down into small components and then build from there. But again, that's if you're a learner more than already trying to develop something particular. But if you hit any roadblocks, please, again, feel free to ask questions here or on the developer forum. Our team is there to help you on your journey of developing Dynatrace apps, and we'll try our best to answer all the questions that you might come across when developing apps. Yeah, so any more questions? Is there anyone who wants to drop in a question? I don't see anything coming up. So for now, yeah, or Sini, do you have anything to add for now?
No, nothing on top of my head.
Okay.
So if there are no further questions, I guess we can wrap up the session.
Yep. Yeah. Just let me give you a quick reminder about the resources that we have available. So what Sini was working with just now, that's the Dynatrace developer docs. Then we have the developer Q&A forum that I've already showed you at the beginning. Again, please feel free to drop any question that you might have there. And we also have our next office hours coming up on Tuesday, January 16th at 3:30 or p.m. or 9:30 again. Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope that you were able to get some useful insights or get help for your current or next app. And yeah, thank you for joining us. And I hope you have a good afternoon.
Yeah, thanks
Thank
for
you,
joining.
Sini.
And thank you, Sarah, and see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.